Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're live in the studio, so get involved in the chat and the comments. We're going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news. We'll be honest with you, right? There isn't a lot of news at the minute. There isn't a lot of news where you go, wow, that's a credible source giving us something we didn't really know that is likely to happen. There's a bit of a lack of it. And we've been looking around and we're thinking, okay, we can report on what is being reported, as we always do, but we're also going to have a little look at something a bit different as well. We're going to look at free agents who are available in the summer, because we've noticed a lot of the stories we're reading at the minute are about who United are going to sell, how can United raise some funds. United haven't got any dough. So if we haven't got much money and we can't spend big money in the summer, then maybe we are going to have to look in the free market sort of arena and see who's available, who's out of contracts, and who we could get in the summer who won't cost any money. So we're going to have a little bit of a look at that towards the end of this video, a little bit late, not towards the end, but just after we go through some of the stories that are doing the rounds, because I'm going to be honest with you, the stories at the minute are a little bit underwhelming, which I'm just being honest with you, I'm not going to pretend. So let's get into it. Let's start with this one about Trincao. So this is the kid at Sporting, I think. So it says, Man United, this is in the Mail, could pay double former Wolves flop £50 million release clause as Ruben Amorim identifies top target ahead of summer rebuild. So we know there is going to be a summer rebuild here, and it says Ruben Amorim will look to pay over the asking price for one of United's top transfer targets in the upcoming summer window, according to reports. Mail Sport revealed on Wednesday United were interested in adding the head coach's former player at Sporting, Francisco Trincao, to their attacking ranks at the end of the season, with Southampton's Tyler Diblin, another player, being watched with interest. The Red Devils will be seeking to rebuild their squad and make wholesale changes for the first major transfer window of Amorim's tenure after a disappointing season. So we are going to sign players, and there's a good chance we might end up looking at the Portuguese league, looking at his former team, Sporting. There was talk one though that we get Giovanni Quenda. He's obviously got a Chelsea. Although don't forget, he's got a Chelsea in 2026, I think. And I think that might have been a big reason why that was an easier deal for Chelsea to make, because if you can say at Sporting, look, well, you know, we want him, but you can have him for another year, it's quite attractive to them as a selling club. And also the player gets a move and Sporting get the money eventually, and Chelsea will get that player eventually. I also think with Kenda, though, United need someone this summer. We need players this summer. There's no point in saying, oh, we'll sign someone and he can join in a year's time. It's too far down the line. So Kenda's not coming. The latest on Gomes is that he just doesn't fancy Manchester United. We keep hearing the same reports, the same rumours, the same stories that Victor Gomes isn't feeling coming to Old Trafford in the summer. He was linked with the club. It would make sense. We need a goal scorer. He is a goal scorer. Obviously, Ruben Amorim knows him well. He worked with him at Sporting. Actually got his career going properly, didn't he? After he was at Coventry, he sort of exploded into an absolute goal-scoring machine at Sporting under Ruben Amorim. But he's well sought after because of the amount of goals he scored. He's got options, other options, probably guaranteed Champions League football as well. I know there's a chance that Manchester United could be in the Champions League if we win the Europa, but it seems as though he doesn't fancy a move to Old Trafford. And even the price for him might be a sticking point. We're hearing that it could be around 50, 60 million, which isn't that extortionate for a striker who's scoring as many goals as he is. He's basically scoring a goal a game, which is just like ridiculous. That's like prime Messi and Ronaldo numbers, isn't it? He's doing that, but he's only about 60 million. I say only, I know it's still a lot of money, but in sort of strikers terms, it's not. I think because of his age and the fact he's got a buyout clause as well. So that transfer would actually be doable if United were perhaps in the Champions League and had money, but we haven't got money and we don't know if we're going to be in the Champions League. So Gomes doesn't look like it's happening. Could Trincao happen? Maybe. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know what you think. Hit that like button as well, please, people. Let's get to 200 likes during the course of this video. Come on, smash a like, as they say. Damien Ahepine says, a little off topic, but when is the stadium... Well, sorry, but when the stadium is built, where will United play? Or will Old Trafford be knocked down after it? I think the plan is that United will play at Old Trafford until the stadium is built. And then I think they're going to time it. So the final bit of because the stadium's almost going to touch. The new stadium, I think, is almost going to touch where the current stadium is. So I don't think that's feasible to build it all whilst Old Trafford is there. I think that there's going to be a sort of timing thing where it's like you build 90% of the stadium or whatever. United play at Old Trafford whilst it's being built, then knock down Old Trafford and finish it maybe during the summer. I don't know. And then we move into a new stadium. We'll have to see. But the sort of the reports we're having that United won't have to find a temporary home. We will play at Old Trafford, because that would be a major issue, wouldn't it? Trying to find somewhere to play if we couldn't play at Old Trafford. I don't know how we'd work that that out. I don't know how we'd square that circle, because obviously I think you've had it in London and in the past where teams have played at Wembley. I think Arsenal did that, didn't they? And did Spurs do it? Well, I know Spurs did it as well, because obviously we played them there. I remember it. So they've had that as an option. United in the past, when I say in the past, I mean like 80 years ago, we played, I think, at Main Road when Old Trafford was bombed, but I don't think we're going to be sharing the ground with Manchester City. If we're building a new stadium, I don't think they'd let us, and I don't think we'd want to. And then where else is there? Where else can you look at that could house enough fans for it to be feasible for Manchester United to play in? I think the best option is to play at Old Trafford and somehow work it out. So you build the stadium, use Old Trafford, and then move over. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. It's a good question. I like the fact that it's a little off topic as well, because on Stretford Paddock, we don't have topics. It's your channel. Get involved in the chat and let us know what you think. Let's talk about Roger Fernandes as well. This is another one. This is in the... Is this the Metro? Right. I hate that. Gossip. What's that mean? Like, I get it, because obviously he's just reporting what's been heard, but it just sort of seems like he's a bit of a disclaimer. It says here, Man United switched attentions to 33 million star after Chelsea signed their top transfer target. So obviously, as I mentioned earlier, that United were after Giovanni Kenda, didn't get him because he's going to Chelsea. And it says now Manchester United are plotting a transfer move for Braga starlet Roger Fernandes after Chelsea scuppered their bid to sign Kenda. Obviously, brought in Patrick Dorgu in January. It says Patrick Dorgu was the only addition to United's senior squad in January, with the 20-year-old wing-back arriving from Lecce to become the first signing of Ruben Amorim's reign. Interesting that, because I seem to recall Aiden Heaven being announced on the pitch as well alongside Patrick Dorgu. Or does he not count for some reason? Weird. But Ineos are preparing to break the bank and back their manager with a major squad overhaul when the summer transfer window opens for business. The Red Devils are eager to raise funds, to help build... What? That doesn't even make sense. Do you know what? Just get rid of that. I'm annoyed with it already. Honestly. If you can't even write a sentence, you shouldn't be a journalist. Jesus, you've not got a sub-editor that's checked that as well. It's ridiculous. Let's talk about Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood, he's having a bit of a time of it, innit, at Marseille. Now, the only reason I'm going to talk about Mason Greenwood, before people go, why are you talking about Mason Greenwood? He's not United player anymore, all the rest of it. Yes, we saw Mason Greenwood, but the reports are that we have got a clause in his contract that when or if he gets sold by Marseille, we will get some of that money. So potentially that could give United some funds if he was to move on from Marseille. Now, he's had a bit of a fallout, hasn't he, with De Zerbi. Him and De Zerbi aren't getting on. I think he's been dropped for a couple of games as well. Now, he is their top scorer. I think he's got 15 goals this season. I think he's second top scorer in Ligue 1. So he's obviously scoring lots of goals. Feels like we've been here before, doesn't it, with Mason Greenwood? I know it's not the same thing, but it's not what he's doing on the pitch, which is the issue. It's off the pitch, I think, in training. De Zerbi's not happy with him. He's been dropped. There's talk that maybe he could be moved on. If he is moved on, Manchester United could get some funds from that. Maybe that helps us in terms of our transfer window, bringing in a few players. Let me know what you think. Kelvin Marori says, why aren't we in for Florian Wirtz? Tyler Wood says, Roger is rapid. Velvet Thunder says, the sell-on clause is 50%, I think, for Mason Greenwood. That'd be big dough, that, wouldn't it? If Marseille were to sell him and get, like, well, not big, it'd be a decent amount of money. You'd imagine that Marseille could probably get 50 million for him at least. He scores a lot of goals, doesn't he? I know there's issues there, obviously, but he's still a player that scores goals. There's still probably clubs that would be interested in him. So if maybe United got 25, 30 million even for that deal, that could help us bring in another player. Andre Onana, we had this the other day, still doing the rounds. He doesn't want to go to Saudi. He wants to stay at Old Trafford and fight for his place. Listen, I will never, ever criticise a player for wanting to stay at Manchester United and fight for his place. I think all players should want to do that. They should always have that desire and that determination to make a success of it at Manchester United. Now, Andre Onana has had a bit of a time of it this season. I thought his first season was okay. Bit of a stinker in the Champions League. Did better in the league eventually. There was like a period, I think it was around Christmas to towards the end of the season, where he was playing really well. End of the season was a bit up and down. This season I wanted to see a bit more from him. He started relatively well, then he tailed off, had some absolute nightmare games, let's not pretend, but last few games has been better. He's fighting for his place. The one advantage he's got at the minute is all the other goalkeepers are injured. Tom Eaton's injured, Ali Bindir's injured, so he's the only guy really you can rely on or you can turn to if you're Ruben Amorim, because you're not going to throw in one of the kids for the back end of the season. It's just not going to happen. Not in the goalkeeping position. So he will play, I think, to the end of the season. A lot may depend on how he does to the end of the season, on whether Ruben Amorim thinks he can trust his goalkeeper. He might look at it and go, look, I just can't have him in goal for me. He's not good enough. Or he might say he is. We have changed tack slightly, haven't we, with Andre Onana? If you notice, we're not trying to play out the back as much. I think he's been going, last few games, he's been going long a lot more. So that's obviously an instruction from the manager, and it feels like we've just sort of almost given up. And I don't know if that's just because of Andre Onana. Maybe there's an element of losing Lisandro Martinez there that's affecting that. I don't know. But it does seem like we have changed tactics a little bit when it comes to the goalkeeper. I'd love Andre Onana to make a success of it at Manchester United. It solves a big headache for us as a club because we haven't got much money. Buying another goalkeeper is just a headache. And obviously, with other areas we need to strengthen as well. But we have to wait and see where we're at. If Andre Onana has a nightmare towards the end of the season, can you rely on him? Can you rely on a goalkeeper who's been here for a couple of years and isn't doing it? Let me know what you think. Brian Casey says, can't believe we haven't heard about Rasmus going out to buy milk with his girlfriend yet. Should have been the top story. Come on, Jay, do better. We had that yesterday. That was the worst story ever. Worst story ever. But hit that like button, please, people. We're not even up to 100 likes yet, which is a disgrace. Joe James John says, which players went out to get milk, Jay? We'll have more on that later. The Daily Mail usually love that, don't they? Like, Bruno Fernandes spotted shopping, but I think it was hashtag Don't Buy the Sun that did the story on Rasmus Højlund, saying that he went out to get some milk. I mean, Jesus Christ. Have you not got any integrity? Imagine being a journalist and being sent out on that story. Zendian says, what kind of milk? That's a great question. Apparently, reporters are working on the follow-up to that to find out. Now people are asking me what type of milk Rasmus Højlund was buying. Was it skimmed or full fat, says Adam Kenny. I'm not sure. We will try and find that out. We're working on that story ourselves. We've got a few contacts. Let's talk about the free agents then on the thumbnail. We were having a little bit of a chat earlier in the office, and we're saying, like, look, Manchester United, we haven't got any dough, or we haven't got much money. Are we going to look at some free agents? Now, there's one or two we have been linked with. There's one or two we haven't. So we just thought we'd have a little bit of a look to see if there's any free agents that Manchester United could go for. Now, the obvious one that stands out on that list, you can see the list there in front of you, is Jonathan David. He's a free agent at Lille. We have been linked with him. He bangs in at least 20 goals a season consistently. He would be, how old is he? He's 25, so it's not like he's a free agent who's past his best, a striker that could come in and do a job at Old Trafford. Now, in an ideal world, I'm going to be honest with you, we probably wouldn't be signing someone like Jonathan David. We're probably aiming a little bit higher. I think he's a good striker and I think he could do a job at United. I won't put him in the top, very top tier of strikers. But I think if you're looking for a player that can come in and can get you some goals, who's got a very good record, Jonathan David is your man because he costs now as well. So maybe he comes in for a season or two whilst you're accumulating some more money to get out of the sort of black hole of debt we're in or whatever, sort our finances out a little bit so we're in a position to be able to buy some players or buy, more expensive players. And in a couple of seasons, we go out and we get another striker. Or maybe someone like Chido Obi in a couple of seasons is ready to start. Or maybe Rasmus Højlund becomes the player we hope he can be. I think Jonathan David would be a good option. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. There's some interesting other names on this list as well. Jonathan Tah, centre back. There's talk of him maybe. I think he's been linked with Bayern Munich, hasn't he? Jonathan Tah is at Leverkusen. So I don't know what's happening in that one. Angel Gomes. We know about Angel Gomes. He was at Manchester United. Another one from Lille. He has been linked loosely with a return to Manchester United. I don't know what the latest is on Angel Gomes. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know what you think. Justin Bieber says he doesn't match the physical profile that Manchester United are looking for. He and Angel Gomes are both 5'7". Angel Gomes, very small. He's a different type of player, Angel Gomes, now. He's more of a deep line midfielder, isn't he? When he was at Old Trafford. Do you remember when he was at United? He was a bit more like a number 10. But now, obviously, he plays a lot deeper. Been playing for England. A good player, very good lad as well. From everyone I spoke to who's ever knows him or spoken with Angel Gomes, has nothing but positive things to say about his personality, his maturity, the way he plays football. He's an enjoyable player to watch as well. Would he work in a Ruben Amorim system? Possibly. Is he the answer though? I'm not so sure. Akash Cake, let me know what you think. Let me know, have a look at that list. Let me know what you think. Akash Cake says, I'd take Kyle Walker-Peters on a free. The question is, can he play as a right wing back? Potentially. Tariq Lamptey's on there. Do you remember when we were linked with him quite a lot? It was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? And there was a little bit of a buzz around Tariq Lamptey. Everyone was after him. He was, sort of 22, 20, I think he was 21, 22 at the time. Everyone's like, he's a great young full-back, young right-back, can do a job. He's on a free transfer. I don't know what the latest is with him, but I think if you look at him this season, he doesn't play every game for Brighton. He's not always starting. I think, did he get sent off the other week? Did he get sent off against you lot, was it, Eve? Yeah, was it 2 yellows in about 2 minutes? I think it was. But he's having looking at. I think he's only played about 13 games, but I think he's got like 2 goals and 2 assists, which, you know, our strikers would kill for them sort of numbers. So I don't know. Maybe there's someone there on that list that could solve the problem of Manchester United not having much money to spend and needing reinforcements. Obviously, you don't just want to bring in Dross. Oh, there you go. Ethan, the producer's being funny. Cristiano Ronaldo was on a free transfer. Yeah, that. Do you know what? Stranger things have happened at Manchester United, but I don't think that will. Callum Wilson's there as well. 1 or 2 others. Adama Traore. Oh God, can you imagine? Yeah, make him and Lisandro Martinez room together. Obviously, our very own Victor Lindelof is on there. We've got a few players out of contracts, haven't we? I'm just wondering whether that could be the answer to some of the problems we've got. We haven't got loads of money to spend. We need players. Is there anyone there on those lists, a free transfer in the summer, you think Manchester United should be going for? Is it Jonathan David? Is it someone like Angel Gomes? Get involved in the chat and the comments. Kelvin Marori says, how about Trent Alexander-Arnold? Nah, he's no good. Brian Casey says, Adama Traore says, we don't have the budget for the amount of baby oil he would need. Yeah, that's probably true. We can't afford sellotape at the minute. So weird, that, innit? Do you know what? Like, does he still do that, Adama Traore? Get baby oil put on him? Like, what? Like, come on, man. Let's just be real. That's insane. Honestly. Also, Adama Traore, he's one of those weird guys in here because he's one of those players where, if Adama Traore comes on, you think, oh God, Adama Traore's coming on. He's a re-handful him. He's a bit of a nightmare. But he barely ever scores or assists. His end product's almost non-existent. And it's just, yeah, he's just... And didn't he go to Barcelona for a season as well? How did that happen? That's just mental. Mate, I don't even know if I could... Adam Kenny with a funny one there. We're allowed to read that out. I don't know. Yeah, a few people say... Kevin Aitchison says, P. Diddy has ruined baby oil for everyone. I mean, yeah, no comment. Brian Casey says, he's a bodybuilder in a football shirt that can't play football, talking about Adama Traore. Yeah, he's one of them, innit? Okay. People saying about Virgil van Dijk as well. Yeah, there's a few players on there that we're obviously not going to get, but there's a few players there that could potentially come in, do a job for United. Maybe it's just a little bit of a stopgap as well, because we are lacking, aren't we, in certain areas. We're sort of a bit threadbare. You look at our midfield options. Casemiro, is he going to be here next season? Can you still rely on him? I'm not so sure. Christian Eriksen, we expect him to move on. Obviously, I'm hoping Kobbie Mainoo's going to stay. There's been some reports, haven't there, that he could move on this summer. We're hoping to get a bit more clarity on that over the next week or so, because there's been conflicting reports. We spoke about this on Off the Bar yesterday. Some people are saying that Kobbie Mainoo, I think we had a story yesterday from the Evening News. I think is it Steve Railston in the Evening News? Forgive me, I'm getting his name wrong, but he was saying that Kobbie Mainoo could enter out the door. Other reports saying, actually, hold your horses a bit. When we spoke to Laurie Whitwell, he was saying these reports and rumours that Kobbie Mainoo was asking for around 200k a week weren't true. So we don't know what's going on there in terms of whether Kobbie Mainoo is going to be sort of one of the players that United look to move on this summer. The same with Alejandro Garnacho. I hope Kobbie Mainoo stays. I hope Alejandro Garnacho stays. But in terms of signings, we don't have a lot of money. We need a striker. Probably need another wing back. Probably need a centre back. And we probably need a central midfielder, and also there's a slim chance we might even need a goalkeeper. So how do you fix that problem if you've got no money to spend? I mean, it is a bit of an issue, isn't it? Because there's only so many players you can buy when you've got a very limited budget. So we're looking at, that's why we have been looking at the free transfer market. A bit of an update as well, injury update. Who? Luke Shaw, Lenny Yoro and Harry Maguire are back in training, according to the Evening News. I think that's Luckhurst in the Evening News. Says that Shaw, Yoro and Maguire are back in training. Good news, positive news. I'd like to see all those players play a part in the rest of the season for Manchester United. Luke Shaw's just become the forgotten man, and I think most people give up on him. But when he is fit and does play, he's very good. It's just he's been injured for, what is it? When was his last start? Was it February? His last start? Not February, sorry, February 2024 was his last start for Manchester United, which is kind of mental, really, when you think about it. He went to the Euros. Everyone lost their mind about the fact that he played for England in the Euros. Comes back, gets injured in training or isn't fit. Then he came back, was it for the Everton game? I think he came on as sub under Ruben Amorim, and then gets another injury after that. He's just had no luck. I actually feel a little bit sorry for Luke Shaw. I know there's sympathies in short supply when it comes to Luke Shaw because people look at him and go, well, he shouldn't have gone away with England. He shouldn't have. He's had injury issues well before that. And I always sympathise a little bit with players that want to play for their country, especially major tournaments, because it is a short career. You don't get many opportunities. The fact is Luke Shaw's body's just been letting him down for a number of years now. And I think, actually, if you could, you'd probably want to move him on, but I don't know how feasible that is. I think he's got a contract for another 3 years or something, another 2 years, and he's on pretty big money, so it's going to be difficult to move him on. I think we're going to leave it there. Get a grip. Sword of the evening says Ruben Amorim slides in his DM. That was one of my predictions that Ruben Amorim would play for United this season. I was only messing about, but it might be true. We're going to leave it there. Make sure, if you're not doing already, you are subscribing to the channel. We're going to be back later on. We've got an interview, actually. One thing I want to mention, there's a protest at FC United's ground Broaders Park this weekend with the 58 as well. The 58 teaming up with FC United to sort of protest against what's going on at Manchester United. There's a bit of an event going on with some speakers and stuff like that. We spoke to both representatives from FC United and the 958. That's going to be on the channel this afternoon. Plus, later on, you're going to get your fix of absolute nonsense when me and Stephen Howson are on the brew. So make sure you're hitting like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button, please, people. Come on. I've been Jay Motty. This has been a Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.